So that's what we're seeing right now is there's a lot of people out there that are ready and willing to be developed. Their resume doesn't look impressive, but deep down, once you talk to them, you realize they're ready for that next step in their career.
In today's episode, Courtney and I sit down with the CEO of Evergreen Agency Talent, Jon Moore, and we're going to be discussing exactly what you should be doing to attract the best talent. So he runs a recruiting firm, and he's going to be giving you everything that you need to know with what he's looking for, what you should be including in your job description, your ads to attract the best talent, to make sure that you have the ability to grow your agency, grow your team with champions. With that being said, let's start the show. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver. And today we have a very special guest with us, the CEO of Evergreen Agency Talent, Jon Moore. Jon, what's going on, my man?
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're super excited because the one thing that I feel like just not all insurance agents, but all business owners struggle with is recruiting, getting the right people in to develop, coach, train, to create the rock stars they want. But man, having the time to recruit is just freaking tough. So, but before we get into that, look, you got a unique story, and I want to dive into, I'm a coffee snob. Anybody that follows the buzz, right here, baby. We got a big coffee mug on the desk, man. So I'd be curious, like, talk to us a little bit about your story, because you have a really unique story from being a drum player, going rock star status, to owning a coffee shop, to now helping insurance agents recruit.
Yeah. I mean, I know we were talking music when we first started chatting, and I was in a band, doing a lot of traveling, and had done a bunch of odds and ends jobs. So moved cars at car dealerships, painted houses, what have you. And I found that a lot of them didn't like me leaving for a month at a time, and then coming back, they would say, no, you don't have a job when you come back. So coffee shops, however, were different. They didn't mind as much. So we'd go on these little tours and play a bunch of shows, and they'd let me come back. And while I was working there, I started to realize I really liked coffee. I liked, like you say, you're a coffee snob. It's like, yeah, I kind of turned into one. Like, why is this blend different than that blend? Why is coffee from Guatemala taste different than coffee from Ethiopia? And really started to just kind of geek out on coffee and just really enjoyed it as kind of like a hobby on top of my job. And then also the people aspect. I love making someone's day better, serving them a product, seeing a smile on their face. It was rare that we made someone's day worse after getting a cup of coffee. So yeah, I was doing that for a while, and I got married to my lovely wife, and she got pregnant with our first son, Jackson, and kind of looking in the mirror a little bit and being like, man, been trying to be a rock star. I'm working at this coffee shop job. I need to step it up. I need to find something a little bit more long-term to do. So an agent approached me about an opportunity as a multi-line representative, which I had no idea what that meant. And I said, all right, if it makes me more money, let's do it. So that's the foray into insurance.
Okay. You just set this up perfectly, because we're going to have a recruiting conversation. So I would like to know, in that conversation, what did they say to you that got you intrigued to go from, okay, I'm a drummer, and then I'm killing it in the coffee world. Now I'm going to go into insurance. How do we make that segue? What was there something in the conversation aside from just being like where you were kind of at this like fork in the road in your life? I'm curious what made you actually make that pivot.
I brag on this individual a lot, and I use a lot of their practices in what we do and what we recommend, which is he didn't leave me alone. And I meant that in a good way. Like, he would come and buy coffee, and he'd chat with me, and he'd just sell me on the opportunity. So a lot of times, I don't want to get too preachy too quick, but a lot of times I think as business owners or as agents, we feel like, oh, prove to me why you're worthy to work here. And sometimes it's the other way around. When it's a good employee, you need to sell yourself and sell your agency and sell the opportunity. And he did that very well. So he sold it as a long-term opportunity that was going to help my family, that was going to provide for my to-be, newborn son and wife. And I believed him, and he proved that. He showed me with examples of people in his office, what they had done. It was just really great. And like I said, he didn't leave me alone. So all throughout licensing, all throughout training, would check in on me, make sure I'm doing good, hold me accountable as well. It was just it was a opportunity that he kept waving in front of my face, so I couldn't ignore it.
I love that. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about the transition, because I'm going to be really honest. You said something in there, and I'm like, oh man, okay, how did that transition into insurance? You said, I'm just trying to make somebody's day better, because the insurance day to day is a lot of putting out fires, and you're not selling ice cream and you're not selling coffee anymore. So I'm curious, what kind of tools did you take from your previous experience that you think really set you apart in the insurance space? And I'm saying this because I want our listeners and our community to start thinking about, okay, aside from just people who have sales experience, what are some of the skill sets that I need to be looking for in people that I am trying to hire?
Oh, that's such a good question. So a couple thoughts come to mind. The first one is I wasn't a very good salesman. As a matter of fact, the long story is when I actually came in for my first interview, my agent was a little hesitant because I was a little quiet. Like I didn't speak much more than when I was just answering a question. And he ended up taking a chance on me. And I wasn't great at sales, like a natural born salesman, I guess, if you want to say it that way. It was a skill I had to just really dedicate myself to. And it took a lot of humbling experiences, a lot of accountability on his part, holding me accountable to hitting numbers, to hitting activity goals, all that stuff. And what finally clicked, to kind of get to your question, was when I believed in it, when I believed in the product and I could relate it to the person or relate it to myself. That is what really made it huge. So, for example, I could give a bunch of examples, but the most powerful one I still preach today. I don't even sell insurance anymore. But whenever I talk to an insurance salesman, I am so passionate about life insurance, because when I had my son and I'm holding him in my arms, and that, I'm preaching the choir again, but you start to think of, man, what would happen if I wasn't here? And that's a really morbid thought to a lot of people, but it makes it so real. And so after that moment, when my son was born, life insurance became, I wouldn't say easy, but really easy for me to push on people in a very respectful and professional way, of course.
Yeah. I love that, because it kind of segues into the next thing that I want to talk about. Do you think that great people are found, or do you have to develop them?
I like the question, and I talk about this a lot. I won't say never, but most of the time, if you find like a kind person or a good person, skills can be taught. They can be developed. They can acquire new skills, but it's really hard to find someone who's really skilled. That's a jerk. Someone you don't want to be around. Someone that's going to treat your customers horrible because they just don't like people. It's not something that's easily coachable. And maybe, I guess you're asking my opinion. No, I don't think it's coachable, really. I think that it's you're born with it. You're either a kind person and you're looking out for people, or maybe you just aren't.
You know my take on this. Just like there's no silver bullet secret sauce to success, there's also no magical employee that's just going to come in and change your business. All good salespeople, sure, there are some skills that people acquire through their life, but I personally would rather hire someone that has almost no experience, so I can kind of coach them and train them the way I want them to be coached and trained and develop those skill sets. So just like you just said, John, and it's just like what we look for in the people we hire, we look for good people that are going to fit our culture, hard workers, people that are coachable, good communication skills, because I believe that all great salespeople are not just unicorns. They are ones that have been developed, have been coached, have been trained, and take some of that onto themselves as well. They have a sense of ownership that they want to master their craft. So I would echo you, John. Like, they're not. If you can find a unicorn, you might as well consider yourself very lucky.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. We talk about that a lot.
Okay, so since we're not finding unicorns, and this seems to be a common problem that everyone is running into. It's not just insurance agents. It's businesses all across the board. They're trying to find really great talent. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the recruiting space.
Yeah, so I'm as far as a business owner goes, and to agents that are obviously business owners, I'm all about increasing my chances of success. So my percentage of success, right? So just like we have goals for sales activities or retention activities, whatever it might be, we're seeing the same thing applies to recruiting, meaning that if we increase our chances of success, meaning if we're increasing the demographics and the talent pool that we're looking in, the higher likelihood we're going to have of finding that person that fits our culture, that's a good person, that's teachable, that's coachable, versus looking for such a specific person that we're shrinking down that talent pool to an almost impossible number. So that's what we're seeing right now is there's a lot of people out there that are ready and willing to be developed. Their resume doesn't look impressive, but deep down, once you talk to them, you realize they're ready for that next step in their career. They're looking to grow. They're hungry. They're coachable. That's what we're seeing is those people are out there. We just have to look every single day for them. The ones that are already doing it well are typically doing great in an office and their agent's taking care of them. So they have no reason to really want to leave,
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to follow up with the quality versus quantity approach. Look, I do think that you can go out, and if you are headhunting, you can find someone that's probably in an agency that's been trained, that's looking for a different opportunity because the agency owner may not be investing in them, or maybe they're just looking for a different fit, right? But let's say you're taking a different approach. You do want someone like what you're talking about, maybe has never worked in insurance, maybe never even been in sales, right? So how are you as a recruiting company filtering is what I would say, because look, if you recruit enough people, you have enough conversations, you will eventually find someone. But how are you doing a good job of really figuring out, okay, here's 100 people, but here are the 5 that I believe you should interview?
I love that question. We boil it down to 3 things because I get asked this a lot. Like we can look at a list of requirements that an agent gives us, and they could be really specific or really vague, whatever it might be. So we want to check as many of those boxes as we can, right? Because an agent's going to have preferences. Like I'd like someone close to my office or whatever, some things along those lines. But as far as what we recommend when we're asked that question is 3 main things. 1, are they a good person? Like we've already talked about. Are they somebody that you want to talk to, that you enjoy talking to them, that they have a good personality? 2 is, are they hungry? What's driving them? For me, in my example I gave, I had a newborn son and a wife to take care of. That was going to drive me. Like no matter what it took, I was going to be successful. And then 3, do they have the basic skills? Of course, we talked about skills being coachable, people being coachable and skills being able to be taught. But at the same time, of course, a person has to be able to receive those skills because not everybody can. And that's I think we all know that.
All right, so let's dig into these
things.
Yep. So let's dig into these just a little bit because there's a lot of agents out there right now that may be recruiting themselves and maybe they want to continue to recruit themselves, sure. Right? So when you say good personality, what are 2 or 3 characteristics that you're looking for that you can typically figure out either in an email sequence, a 15-minute conversation? Like what are 2 or 3 things that are standing out to you to determine, okay, they passed the good personality test? Mm-hmm.
I would say the big one is that you just enjoy talking to them, like you guys. I mean, I'm not trying to blow smoke, but just when we hop on the
I'm like a dolphin. First, I need
okay,
all the applause. Right. Yeah.
Okay. You guys are easy to talk to. So there's something about you. I can't really define it, but there's something about like, man, I just enjoy talking with these people because the chances are if you enjoy talking to that person and they're for whatever reason, most likely your customers and your coworkers are also going to enjoy talking with that person. So that's huge. And then, yeah, I don't know. We do like post interviews. When I say post interviews, like we do 1, 2, or 3 interviews depending on which agent's preferences are. And a lot of times they'll have a team interview. And I like that a lot too, because the agent can observe conversation instead of just being the one to ask and take that conversation. And that can even be after the initial conversation with the agent. That's typically when they do it. But I like that too, observing someone's conversation with another person, just seeing how they carry themselves, how they talk, and the words they use, etc.
Okay, I like that. So easy to talk to. That's one thing we look for as well. Okay, so second thing was hungry. So what are you finding that the best sales professionals that you are recruiting, so now that you've been doing this for a couple of years, like you have data, like, so what 2 or 3 things are typically being said in an interview that automatically should trigger, oh man, this person's hungry. They have a likelier chance of having success in this industry and sales than maybe others.
Okay. So it's not 100%, of course, right? We're all going to gotten an interview. I have plenty of stories. I'm sure we all do. I had one. I was blown away by their interview, and they were one of the worst employees I've ever had. Anyway, but
everyone's nodding their head right now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
This guy's going to be, or this guy or gal's the next one that's going to change my business.
Yes.
90 days later, it's like, I could have fired you after day 3. What was I doing?
Yes. Oh gosh, I have a real story about that one. For me, if I to boil it down, would be someone being very clear, like being clear about what makes them driven. When people waffle on that point, they're not quite sure. It's not always indicative that they aren't hungry, but they don't really know it yet, right? So it's hard to be hungry and driven by something you're not aware of. So I would say that conviction, right? That thing that like I can say, this is why. Sometimes people will tell you things and you can kind of read through like, man, I don't know if you really believe that. I don't know if you really know that, and you're just maybe thinking of something on the spot. But when we talk with people that have a clear thing that drives them and they're able to communicate that clearly, I would say those are the things to look for on that point, on the hunger point for sure.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, how many people are you coming across that are just straight up like super honest, like I'm money motivated, man. I am hungry and I just want to make an absolute ton of money. Gotta watch my language there.
Almost dropped the F-bomb. I felt it.
Well, I don't have a percentage for you, but that's also something that can drive someone, and that's okay. Like to be goal oriented and money driven, that's not a bad thing, right? If that's the thing that's like, I want to make money, I want to do well for myself, that's awesome. That can be something that drives someone. Absolutely. Now, we could have personal conversations about like making sure that you're satisfied outside of just financial things, but of course, that can be something that drives someone's professional career. Absolutely.
Agency owners, imagine a world where you had a coach or trainer in your office that reported to you every single day, that your team had access to every single day. And the reason why most of you don't have that already is because they're extremely expensive. Usually most sales trainers and coaches are going to cost 6 figures a year. I'm so excited to announce the launch of our new business, Agency Coach AI. This is going to provide an AI coach and trainer at you and your team's fingertips 24/7. It's a coach that never takes the day off. It is a coach that reports directly to you. It is a coach that coaches your team the way that you want them to be coached. It practices and role plays with your team every single day, and then is going to coach them on what they did well, what they could have improved on, recommended trainings that they can watch. Then it's going to report to you or the sales manager in the office exactly what was done in that practice session, exactly what was said, and exactly what they coached the team member on. Then we're going to listen to every single live sales call. Think about this, a coach or trainer that sits with your team every single day, listening to every single live conversation, going in and or coming in and going out. No more wondering, hey, is my team actually having the conversations that they've been taught? Hey, is my team actually asking for the sell? Hey, is my team actually making pivots? Hey, is my team actually doing the things that they're supposed to do compliantly? No more guessing. It is all going to be documented and given to you word for word. And the best part about this is after the live calls, the coach coaches them on what they did well, what they could have improved on, and any recommended trainings that they would recommend them take and watch. No more wondering what's going on in your office, regardless if you're there or not. This is going to give you the most transparency and accountability that you've ever had before in your agency career. And the best part about it is, with your team having a coach and trainer that they can lean on 24/7, their confidence is going to grow and they're going to become the best sales professional that they can become because they have access to have coaching and training 24/7. If you are ready to take advantage of AI, if you're ready to have more time back in your business, if you are ready to quit having to choose between training your team and growing your business, go to agencycoachai.com and check out the demo or shoot me a text 816-727-7610 and I'll be in touch and we can get a call scheduled. Other than that, let's get back to the show. Okay. I was just curious because I'm trying to think back on like 21-year-old Michael. I was definitely like money hungry. Now,
Yep.
if you dove into that though, like more, it was like I just wanted the ability to have financial freedom in my life later on. Like I had some things happen to me early on in my life with my parents, and I didn't want to be in a similar situation. So yeah, you're right though. But I know in the culture we live in today, I feel like money motivation is shit on, and it's like, guys, just because someone says that they're money motivated, like that's not always a bad thing. Like if they're willing to back it up and take massive action, money motivation can be a good thing, and you got to dig in. But either way, let's get on to the third one.
Could I add to that real quick, Michael?
Of course.
Do you mind if I add? I think the other thing that we forget sometimes is the money motivated thing is also tied to professional development, right? Like typically the more you climb up that ladder, you're developing yourself professionally. It normally leads to more financial freedom. So, I mean, if somebody worded it that way, I think to your point, like it does get a bad rap sometimes. But if somebody said, I want to develop myself professionally, it wouldn't be frowned upon. But normally that comes with a higher salary, more financial freedom. So yeah, I think it's important
more
thing to
opportunity,
mention.
more growth. They want to continue to advance. They want to continue to evolve. Yeah, I think that. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
All right. So the third one, basic skills. So
Yes.
we have an understanding of like the basic skills we're looking for out of a candidate. I kind of mentioned those earlier, but what are the 2 to 3 basic skills that you believe agency owners should be looking for in an interview process?
Yeah, so this can be found out through a bunch of different ways. We use quick assessments. I know a lot of companies use assessments, which I think are great when used appropriately. But I would say like math and verbal, right? Can someone write a cohesive email? Can they communicate with you clearly on the phone? And are they able to do basic math? Because as you know, when we're selling insurance and servicing insurance, have to be able to do basic math. So those sorts of skills, able to communicate clearly, math and verbal. And then of course we can go from there. Like, do they have the ability to be a leader down the road? If you're looking for that type of employee, do you have someone who has some sales chops right off the bat? You can find that out as well. Because as much as I pound the table for giving people an opportunity and developing people, I'm sure you guys have experienced it. Sometimes people just can't get past that mental block when it comes to sales, because it is a different beast. And so I think it's tricky to find that out on the front side, but there are ways to find out if they're more likely to be that or not. And I would say the things I just mentioned.
Yeah, I would agree. A lot of those are going to be the internal beliefs that they have and some of the things that may have come up in their childhood or whatever. And if you don't have the leadership in your office to be able to actually figure that out and coach to that, that's going to be really hard to develop and train those individuals. Yeah, 100%.
The one characteristic that actually makes the difference between a salesperson that has success and a salesperson that doesn't have success, and I don't know the stat on this, Sean Aker wrote a whole book about this, but it's a positive mindset.
Yep.
It really is like that will make the difference between somebody who has success in sales and somebody who doesn't. And that's a harder thing to kind of test for. But I think a lot of these assessments do kind of tell you which side they lean, if they're more positive or more negative. That kind of fixed mindset is a little bit harder to skill up. Obviously, being able to give and receive feedback, I think, is a huge one, being coachable, and then communication skills. I would echo you, John. I think that's
a really valid point. Yeah. I mean, in his book, Happiness Advantage, I think he said positive salespeople outperform negative salespeople over 33% of the time, over 33% production in the first year and over 50% in the second year. And when you think about it, in sales, you get told so often that if you typically are a negative person or you go to the negative side, then it's going to weigh on you. You're just going to be super hard on yourself, and the likelihood that you thrive or get through that is really unlikely. So great point.
Well, I think, again, that people is always what we're trying to really focus on. And like, how do we develop these people? And because that's the only way you're going to grow your business. Like, you cannot run a one-person show and expect to scale to a $20 million agency. It won't work like that. No matter how much automation you build, you're going to have more people having more conversation. So I think this is always a valid conversation. But I'm curious, because I haven't been in the recruiting space like you have been. You're talking to a lot more people. Tell me what they are looking for. Like collectively, these interviews that you're doing, what are the things that they're requesting out of their employer?
All right. So this also kind of starts to segue a little bit into some practical stuff that people can take away, which I love in job postings. a lot of times in job descriptions and people are agents or business owners that are posting these jobs, they'll be so focused sometimes on all this wording, and it normally comes down to just 3 or 4 things that the person's looking for. So to get to your question, how much am I getting paid? Right, that's a big one. What's the job I'm doing? What is the role? Where am I working? And then from there, number 4 can be, something along the lines of what are the benefits? What are the growth opportunities? That's where it kind of the percentages start to even out a little bit more. But yeah, it's, those are the main things. What are they doing? Are they qualified? That's another one I should say when it's tied with, what am I doing? What's the role? And where am I working? And how much am I getting paid? Those are the big 3.
Okay. Love this. So let's go with the great debate. Hire people at a lower base with a higher commission opportunity, or higher base with a lower commission opportunity. What's going to attract the best talent to that position or agency?
Oh goodness, that's a loaded question, Michael. My answer to that is kind of avoiding the question, which is whatever the agent wants to do, there's a person out there for it. So if and I also say, take your, I think sometimes we're so stuck on, I'm going to do it this way, that we forget if that unicorn that we talked about that doesn't exist, right? If that unicorn does walk in the door, sure. Maybe you give them that higher salary with maybe a little bit less commission, whatever it might be, or somebody you're taking a chance on. Maybe you flip the script and they have a lower base and higher commissions for performance. So I would say that's one thing, is don't be too stuck to that, because it can be applicant dependent. Because if somebody walks in, like I said, that's just the perfect fit, maybe make an exception. But yeah, I don't know if there's a right answer, because I've seen both models work really well, actually. It's just finding the right people to fit those roles. So I hope I didn't avoid it too badly.
You're not. No. You're not avoiding it. This is the great debate, because we get asked all the time from agents, and we do have an opinion, and I've been outspoken about this. Like, I think times have changed. When I started, 15, 16 years ago, I was barely paid minimum wage. The commission structure was set where I had to validate. So even though I was producing a ton, I just didn't make that much money, even though I was a 100 app month producer, crushing it. And what I see now, and this is through owning multiple industries, hiring all kinds of talent, pay scales all over the place, is what I've found is typically the talent pool increases with the amount of money you're willing to pay someone. Mm-hmm. So if you're advertising a job at $24,000 or $30,000 starting base, well, there's only going to be a talent pool, even if you do offer crazy commission structures. Now, this is just my opinion, so this doesn't make this right or wrong. It's only going to attract a certain talent pool that's even willing to take a job with a base that low. Whereas if you bump up the base to maybe a 40, 50, 60 with lower commission, the talent pool typically, in my opinion, from a quality candidate standpoint, will come up. So, but I agree with you. I've seen it done both ways. That's just, I'm speaking from personal experience here. That's what I've been coaching agents to. I would encourage you to really take a look at your commission structure, and is it attracting the type of talent that you want to have in your agency? Sure, you can hire 10 people at $24,000 a year. Maybe you can only hire 4 or 5 at the $50,000 a year base. But will those 4 or 5 have such more talent and more coachable, better skill sets that it can actually outproduce the 10 at the 24? And so that's I think that, and that goes back to the great debate of, you just have to do it and see what happens.
Yeah, and I don't know why I didn't think of this when you first asked the question. So I'm thinking about the strategy, but also how it's presented, right? Is can be 2 different conversations. So what I mean by that is, if an agent has a $24K base, let's say $2,000 a month, but everyone in their office is making over $50,000 because of the performance, why would you post 24,000, right? You can tell them that's how it's paid out, and that most of your agents are doing X amount of sales or what have you. So that's another conversation. I would say that that's huge. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Courtney?
No, I love that you bring that up. It made me think of all of these semi-truck drivers and any in the transportation business. Everything that I see is not their base. It always says opportunity to make up to, and they always put their highest number, whatever that is, $115,000 a year or whatever. So that's going to be the thing that actually makes somebody go, oh, okay, we can we have the opportunity to make. So I love how you position that.
That is good.
My only caveat that I would say, and this is just from a business owner standpoint, is make sure whatever you pay your people that they license their seat. And that comes back to an expectation conversation, and make sure that they can produce to fill whatever that seat
Profit
is.
seat. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into a little bit more of like where you're hearing agents, like the biggest thing when it comes to recruiting, the biggest, like, is it time? Is that what you're taking off of their hands? Is it they don't know how to do it? Like when they're coming to you, what are they complaining about?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big one, right? And business owner to business owner, like we have to do 101 things. So we just can't be good at every single one of them, and we don't have the capacity. So I would say those are the two biggest ones. Either they aren't good at it, or they don't have the time to do it, or they hate it. That's the big three, I'd say, actually. So a combination of those, and whichever one you want to go with, if it's they don't have the time, that means they're not being consistent. That means they're not getting the results, right? If they hate it, that means they're probably not doing it well either. They're not getting the results. And if they're not good at it, whether they want to admit it or not, they're also not getting the results. So it all comes back to they're not getting the people that they need. So at the end of the day, whatever avenue it is, they're getting to that point where they realize I need the right people. That's when they're coming to us.
Makes sense. Yeah, there's only a handful of agents I know that just love to recruit and are good at it. And it's because they have it. It's just like anything else in life. Like you have to be consistent and disciplined with it. So if you are going to recruit, then you have to have a process to where you're consistently recruiting, whatever that means, whether you're going out, knocking on doors, stopping by, like rental car places, going to coffee shops, or maybe you're just on LinkedIn messaging for 15, 30 minutes a day, or whatever it is. You just have to have a consistent process. And that's the hard part, because agency owners, it's just like the coaching and training space. Like so many want to coach and train their team, but they either don't like it, they don't have the skill set, or they don't have the time. And it's like, you have to be consistent with whatever you do. Sales, if you're not consistent, you're going to suck at sales. If you're not consistent with being a spouse, you're going to be a shitty spouse. If you're not consistent with going to the gym, you're not, like, it's everything in life. And so it's the same thing as recruiting. So thank you for that, Jon. I have one last question for you, then we'll wrap up this episode. Remote versus in person. What are you seeing from a talent pool, or not even talent pool, just people wanting to work in a remote environment versus an in-person environment? Do you have any statistical data on that with what you're seeing from a request standpoint from an employer?
Yeah, a lot of really, another good question. So, I mean, COVID really just changed so many things on the approach to work in general. So definitely, I don't have a hard percentage for you, but the requests for remote has just increased significantly. Now, what we're finding is that a lot of these individuals that are looking for remote opportunities are also open to going to the office, or a hybrid opportunity, or going into the office with the opportunity to be remote down the road. So there's a lot of nuance, and that's why our one of our biggest things that we talk about is just talk to people, interview people all the time, because the more you interview people, the more you get to hear their story. And they might have said remote requested, but maybe they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm happy to come to the office. I would love to do that one day, whatever. We're seeing that a lot. And with all the job boards and sometimes all the filtering they're doing automatically, it can filter those people out. Sadly, even though they might be open to working in person, it filters them out just because they clicked a box that said remote. So that's what I would say is just talk to people. You can find that out pretty quickly if it's something that they are dead set on, or something that they just would like, if possible.
Awesome. Jon, this has been awesome, man. You've dropped a ton of nuggets. I appreciate your vulnerability, transparency, and giving away literally like what agents could be doing themselves to be successful. Absolutely. And if they don't have the time, they can connect with you, which is my next question. If somebody did want to work with you, if somebody wanted to follow you, maybe do business with you, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Yeah, they can go to our website, book a time with me, evergreenagencytalent.com. My booking link's right there on the front. Happy to do we do a free recruiting consultation with any agent that wants to. We can review what they're doing and give recommendations and see if it makes sense to partner.
Perfect. Evergreenagencytalent.com. Jon, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on The Buzz today. We appreciate you. All of those of you who tuned in today, as always, we appreciate you. Time is by far your most important asset. We appreciate you spending your time with us today on The Buzz. Go out and make it great.